Our purpose in Surya is to work for the creation of a bridge between modernity and tradition. You already are participating in that endeavor, in revealing the teaching and the light of the tradition in a spirit of universalism. We had the pleasure to welcome you in Paris already to receive your teaching last September. And in respect and homage to the Satsang Foundation, we choose the format of a satsang for this interview when you can mutualize the questions and around yourself. So we put our brains together to make this interview possible, and we rest our case at your feet now.
Thank you. You're welcome.
So you had an extraordinary life and parcours. You become notorious worldwide as a spiritual guide, as a social activist and educator. And today you are active in the field of education, peace and society, and maybe soon in the field also of science with the building of your center of research, Yoga Kendra in Trivandrum. So we're going to talk about that hopefully a little later in this interview. But first, could you please present yourself a little bit so that our public know where do you come from and your journey?
Actually, greetings to all. Namaskar from India. You know this Namaskar? It's you and me together. Hearts together is the symbol of Namaskar. So it's a good greeting, right? So I come from, I was born in India. I'm talking about this body. Clarification. I was born in Kerala, which you visited already. And at the age of 19, well, it's interesting because I was born in a Muslim family in Kerala. And at the age of 8, if you have read my autobiography, Babaji came to our house in the backyard. You saw the old house behind. Now it's built, they separated. That side there was a big jackfruit tree. So I saw him there for a few minutes. He put his hand on my head. And after he put his hand on my head, my way of life, my way of thinking, I was till then like any other normal boy. After that, I became abnormal. I became a little mad, insane. Insanity is good. Too much sanity is the result of this world we have now, right? Better to be insane. So anyway, so then at the age of, so I met many holy men around there, from Kanyakumari to, which is that end where the seas meet together. And I traveled a little bit in Kerala, but then at the age of 19, I kind of disconnected myself from everything and went off to the Himalayas. There was this call, I did not know why I was going, but there was irresistible pull pulling me out there. So I just went away. I didn't know how, I didn't have money, but well, when I grew up, we had lots of money. And suddenly one day I found myself on the street, traveling without a ticket in a train. And so anyway, it's a long story. To make it short, I reached Badrinath after walking for many miles. And I met my master, Maheshwarnath Babaji, who when I saw him, I knew it's the same person I met when I was 8. And then I stayed with him for 3.5 years continuously, till he asked me to get out. And then I also, every now and then, met him once a year at least for 6 months, 1 year. We have wandered in many places, in the Himalayas, also in different parts of India, so many places. And I learned a lot from him. Whatever I know today is because of him. So, whatever I have touched is because of him. Otherwise, I had no chance to move forward. So, with that blessing, and then he himself instructed me, go back, get married. When he said, get married, I said, really? Is this required? And why do you want me to get stuck in the mud? And he said, you cannot call it mud, it may be your karma bhumi, where you need to work. So I got married, I became a family man, I had 2 kids, and according to Babaji's instructions, I was not supposed to teach till I was 40. So I used to go and listen to other people talking. Sometimes I thought they're saying nonsense, but I could not open my mouth. Not always, sometimes. Because Babaji said, no. After the age of 40, I started slowly sharing my experience. I got a signal, a green signal. You'll read it in the autobiography. I started, few people used to gather, we used to meditate, talk. And long ago Babaji had told me, you should write your autobiography. So finally, I wrote my autobiography. I was still toying with the idea if I should not. But then there was this command, right? So finally I succumbed to this temptation of writing an autobiography in English. Till then, it was all quiet in Madanapalli. Did you go to Madanapalli?
Yes.
It was all quiet. There was nothing there, only trees, bushes, and my little house out there. Then the circus started. Actually, it's like a circus. It started. Now I don't stay for more than 2-3 days in a place because I have to move. There's so many things. When Babaji used to move every 3 days, I used to think, what kind of a man is this? Now I'm in the same position. Yeah. So this is how it started. Then from there it grew. Now I have lots of, I don't want to call them disciples, please. I have lots of good friends like you all over the world. And I go, I speak to them. Why are you so serious? I speak to them. And I try to understand what their needs are, especially their spiritual needs. But then human beings also have material needs. So some people ask for help there. I try and do my best. I don't refuse anybody. And my wife, she does not interfere in any of my problems. I can be away from home for years and she won't mind. So Babaji found somebody for me, actually. You haven't met her.
Soon, hopefully.
So here I am. I have 2 kids who have grown up. My son is he writes. He's also a graphic designer. He just published his first novel. And his wife is a product designer. She's too busy with the baby now. And they're busy with their product. So no designing for some. And my daughter, she sings, she's into music. She's married to somebody who is in the film field in Mumbai.
Documentary. Maybe to make some documentary.
See, you have heard of Ramananda Sagar, who made the Ramayana, old Ramayana in India, movies. My son-in-law, Akash, is his son-in-law, his grandson. His grandson. So she is married into that family. So they are making movies. Walk of Hope film is getting almost ready now.
Yes,
He wants to make a biopic on me, but I am resisting. How? Why?
So,
And who will act?
you can figure. You have visited numerous saints in South India before even meeting your master. Could you describe the key point of your master's teaching and how these meetings and your master teaching have been structuring your vision and mission of today?
I think even before I met my master, he was directing me to different people. So I met all kinds of people. You know, in the spiritual field, you cannot stereotype anybody. If you stereotype someone and say, this is how a spiritual person, you'll go wrong. Because I met a variety of people. Some looked very sane and outwardly not spiritual from outside. Some were completely looking crazy, and you never would go and sit near such a person and think that they are spiritual. So I met a whole variety of people. So I think they all contributed in some way to making up my personality, my being, structure of my mind. So in a way, I was kind of ready when I met Maheshwarnath Babaji, my teacher, at the age of 19, because all these influences shaped me up. I found people like Maima who were completely looked crazy, who had no dress, who were naked, and lived with dogs instead of human beings. Then I met very straightforward Swamis from the Ramakrishna mission. Tapasyananda knew me when I was in college. Different type. See? Because this is so infinite, what we seek, that there are infinite ways of looking at it. If it was finite, then there will be only one way of looking at it. It's infinite. You can't say this is the only, you see? So you see variety of people coming into this in different ways. Some look sane, some look mad. Some look mad but are sane. You never know. So it all shaped my being. So also Babaji made sure that I studied all the branches of Hindu darshanas, so that I meet anybody from any darshana. Now, today I realize why I used to think, why is he doing this to me? But now I know, because you can understand what they are saying, you can deal, right? If you didn't know, for instance, about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how will you deal with the Vaishnavas? What will you teach them? So, and if you don't know about yoga, how will you deal with the Nathpanthis? And if you don't know about cannabis, how will you meet? I'm not joking. I'm not an addict now, but how will you talk to people who are following that kind of thing? Babaji once sent me to a sadhu in Haridwar who was he was a Nathpanthi, but he was that kind of, so, but not small, huge. It's like a trumpet. And they would light the dhuni and take one of the sticks and put it up. So he would puff like, you haven't seen a steam engine, I think. I have seen when I was small, puffs of smoke. And then he would say, Har Har Mahadev, Bham Bham Boli, Samadhi. So Babaji sent me, and I told Babaji, why are you sending me in this place? I don't want to get into all this. He said, no, you have to have this experience. Now, if you sit with him, after he does, it is passed on. So I also had to take it. Then I got accustomed. Morning till evening, whenever he puffed, I would get a piece of that. And one evening, I was sitting on the banks of the river, and I saw a gorilla coming out of the water with a rosary in his hand and singing a popular Hindi song. You know, movie song from... Kabhi na jao, something, he was singing and coming. I said, now this is the end. I have to get up. It is enough. I have to break this now. So I was thinking, Babaji, why? 3 months passed, I'm there. So I went back, and that day when we were sitting on the fire, Babaji came. And he told this Maharaj, Maharaj, I'm taking him back, his time is over. He said, okay, Surya World. So I went off with Babaji. It took me 6 days to detox. 6 full days. After I detoxed, Babaji brought me to the same place to show me where the gorilla came from. I went and sat in the evening at 6:30. Huge, big, hairy South Indian sadhu came out of the water. He had a rosary in his hand. This is what I saw as a gorilla before detox, right? So I've been through all this. So I know how to, people come to me sometimes who actually are addicts of various kinds. I welcome them like friends. I have known what it is, you know. I don't say, get out. Slowly, slowly you teach them how to drink what we drink, right? Then they get drunk, then this is all lost. We are also drunkards. We drink a different wine, which is always there, no need to buy new bottles. I think a person who doesn't drink is lost. I mean, not alcohol.
In which way social activism today, even like not political activism because you're not an activist, but let's call it social activism, is also part of your mission and spiritual mission today in the world, in the modern world?
It's very simple. Babaji taught me pretty early in life that you cannot meditate 24 hours a day. No human being can do that. Now what do you do during the other times? You have to engage yourself in some useful work. And there is no work which is as useful as helping somebody else. Why? Because when you see the divine in yourself, you see the divine reflected in other hearts also. Whether they know it or they don't, that's not our problem, right? So when they are suffering, we are suffering. It's not their suffering, it's my suffering. So I need to get rid of it as quickly as possible. So I do my work. It's not social work, it's actually serving the divine in a different way. See, we go to temples, churches, mosques, we worship, synagogues, we think God is present there. Okay, fine. But if the divinity is present in the hearts of everybody, it's a spark of the divine, we are all moving temples of God. That is a fixed temple where you have to go. This is moving temple. We are carrying the deity in our hearts and we are moving around. So, to do some good for others is building the temple. These are the temples that we need to take care of. So when I do social work, it's not like social work. It's like serving the divine in this form. The moving temples of God are more important than the fixed temples of God, right?
Nice analogy.
No, it is true. So therefore, I'm asking people, look for the treasures in your heart, where thieves do not break in and steal. This is the Bible. Jesus Christ.
When you were in the Himalayas, your teacher Maheshwaranath, your guru Maheshwaranath Baji, transmitted you teaching in a formal way, and then he asked you to come back to the world to serve and to deploy it. In this transmission and decades of transmission that you have been involved, we observe that there is a change now with modernity. More and more now with COVID and the new social network and IT and internet, this kind of teaching start to spread over the web. So the question is, in the light of your experience, how do you see that tradition being able to be passed through social network and modern tools like internet, and how do you see or forecast the evolution of such tools.
I have nothing against IT or modern technology. I think it's time we bring this tradition and modernity together, and the only way you can do it today is through the internet. So I'm okay with it. It shouldn't be an obsession. You shouldn't be obsessed with the internet, but it helps to spread your thoughts, right? See, today anybody can sit down on a laptop, go into and check the Google, and sometimes wrong information may be there, but generally yes, we can. In the olden days, very few privileged people could do that. If you read the Bhagavad Gita, the Dhritarashtra is sitting there and he is asking Sanjay, his personal secretary, what is happening in that battlefield in Kurukshetra? Can you explain to me? He's asking him in the palace. And Sanjay is sitting there and looking at something and describing the whole battle. Those days, only few people could get access to this internet. Yeah. He had an internet. But today, it's become common. We all have access to the internet. So, I think we should not discourage, we should encourage it, but make sure that good content goes into it and not misleading, wrong content goes into it. This is important. With internet, you can make, you can destroy, both. We should take care of the making rather than the destroying. You can destroy ignorance, of course, but so I'm very much for it. I don't object to any of this. I think it is important. Today, many people around the world know what I am saying and know about me because of the internet.
That is the thing, and we observe also like it's a collective discussion.
Yes.
Satsanga,
yes.
all over the world now.
Yeah.
Continuously going on.
Exactly. So now this is important, but you shouldn't get obsessed with it. For instance, if you feel that one day you cannot sit without your internet on, then you are addicted. Some days you should give it a go for 1 day, 2 days. No internet, keep your mind clear. But for personal and practical purposes, you need it. There is no harm in using it. Yogis never think in a negative way. They always look at the good side of things. Constructive.
So we had the privilege to visit the Yoga Kendra in Trivandrum and meet Padmaraj, who was very kind, very nice. He showed us also your house and some of the, Gopalaswami, Puntaraswami place. So we could share, and try to imagine how it was to grow up there. But besides the anecdote, we focus on that project which seems to be important for you. So could you please describe, because Padmaraj said it would be better if you describe it yourself. What is happening with the Yoga Kendra?
Basically, Trivandrum is a place where I was born and I underwent all my preliminary training and understanding of spirituality. But we didn't have a place there. We were looking for a place. You must understand that Kerala is one state which is for long years been ruled by the left, by the communists. Even today, the government in Kerala is a Communist Party Marxist government. So I approached the Chief Minister and told him that we are looking for a yoga center. So can you give us the... I know him before. He said, my fear is that it may become a center of right religious activity, rightist religious activity. I said, this I can assure you, because we want a center for yoga research, not for something else, not for prayers, we want it for actual scientific research. This is lacking. There are many kinds of yoga, there people talk, Hatha Yoga Pradipika, texts are there, Garanda Samhita, Shiva Samhita, we have not textbooks, Siddha Siddhanta Padhati of Gorakhnath. But all these things have not been put into what you call measuring the parameters. So I said, especially because it is a communist state, they don't want, okay, let's make a scientific study of yoga. what it does to you, to your body, to your mind, and later on to the spirit, which will come naturally. So, what we intend to do there is to conduct yoga courses, get people to stay there for a length of time. We need to make some structure there. And while they are meditating or doing their yogic practices, we want to measure the parameters like pulse, their heartbeat, their ECG, and their EEG, electroencephalograph, how the brain operates when you meditate. Some experiments are being done in the world, I understand, but we have to do it here. So this is why we got that center, so that people have an understanding that you can also investigate scientifically into these matters. First physical health, then mind health, and then if those who are interested, one step beyond, spiritual health.
Do you see maybe the possibility in the future to be in contact in this global internet discussion with maybe some other people who made research like in USA or I don't know, or other places, and to make something collective?
We actually need to make a network. We need to make a network of people who are involved over the world globally in researching into these matters. Yeah, not silly things like ghost catchers and things like that. I want something serious. Let people want to see how do you meditate, what happens when you meditate, are there ways and means that an ordinary person can meditate, do you need to become a Swami to meditate, things like that. And I think in many corners of the world, people are working on this. You mentioned this elderly person who is there in Paris.
Yes, there is one Frenchman who was quite central in this for the last 20 years.
Maybe we should meet such people.
Yeah, he's also a Tibetan monk, very close to Dalai Lama, and a scientist himself since the 60s.
Bring them together.
Right.
And have dialogues and experiment. This is what I want to do.
Oh, perfect.
And this center will be like a meeting point for these matters.
That's the idea. We could maybe, we are trying to organize maybe table ronde, like an exchange when you come to Paris next time with such people. So hopefully with this interview, this is also like a call to them to get involved and participate in this global discussion and study, scientific study.
Of course. We can go there, they can come here.
Yeah, like that. Of course.
But we can invite people if necessary.
Would be nice. Would be nice.
We can.
What kind of help, assistance could you need or want in order to support this project from afar, from Western countries or people who will see this video who are maybe scientists?
Basically, we need human beings, people. If people are there, then other things can happen by themselves. You know, what I need is sincere people who really want to promote a study of spirituality. And see, look, when the Theosophical Society started, this poor lady, HPB, was alone. She was thrown in and said, do something, by her masters. She came, gathered sincere people around, and then built up the Theosophical Society. The same way, what we need is human beings, human resource. If there is human resource, all other things will get added. So this is what I'm looking for. A group of sincere people. I'm not interested in money. This will happen when it has to happen. People are required.
Recently, our Satsangi in Montreal were connected with your Satsangi in Toronto, and they met there. So maybe there is some opportunity, hopefully, for a visit in the future for yourself to Canada.
Where?
To Canada, I don't know. I hope. We'll see. But in that, the question is in that angle. Montreal in Canada is like the epicenter today in the world of artificial intelligence development. So it will become a special city regarding artificial intelligence.
Montreal, no?
Montreal. Would you be open to exchange with some scientific within that field in Montreal to discuss the matter of science and consciousness and spirituality, so that they can have also maybe a more inspired vision of what artificial intelligence can be.
I'm open to, look, I have nothing to hide, I have nothing to lose. So I'm open to an open discussion on these matters with anybody. In fact, I was wondering if I could get hold of Richard Dawkins for a discussion. You know, the author of, what did Richard Dawkins write recently? The God illusion. I wish I could get him to have a discussion, face to face. I'm not saying I will win or he will win. I'm saying let's have a discussion. Let's see what happens. What is the outcome? I'm open to all these discussions because I'm not looking for establishing. I know I am established myself anyway. Nothing can change that. So why not make people understand?